Greetings, my name is Meg and you're looking at TinyHouse43, which is the tiny house on wheels home that I share with my husband Brand and our 4-year-old son Rad. We also have a cat named Kitty because that's what happens when you let 2-year-olds name your pets. Anyhow, our house started as a tumbleweed barn raiser. In fact, it was one of the very first ones that they ever built, and we brought it back to Texas in May of 2014, spent the summer collecting parts, started really working on it in August of 2014, and then we basically have it 95-ish% finished as of October of 2015, and we moved it to Colorado for the winter. We'll be going back to Texas in the spring though, actually probably at the end of March, first part of April, and we'll do some more work. So I want to point out that this house is very much a work in progress. I also purposely did not do a whole deep cleaning on the inside. I didn't really rearrange anything. Brand did some good picking up yesterday, but rather than show you a perfectly immaculate house you'd see on HGTV, we kind of wanted to just show you what it looks like in real life. That's the reality, and I hope you can deal with it. So anyhow, let me show you the outside here, and then I'll take you on the inside. The house was originally going to look like a Cape Cod. It looks completely different. In fact, the only thing that didn't change is our roof. So this roof is from Da Vinci Roofscapes. It's called Bella Forte Shape. It's actually Miami-Dade rated for heavy-duty hurricane force winds. We had them do something a little special. Instead of running all the colors together, we had 4 individual colors so that our roof would be a little more unique than some of the others that I've seen. Up on the dormers, there's actually some Ondevilla or Ondevilla, depending upon how you pronounce it. That's the same thing that Tiny House Giant Journey used, but I just bought some at Lowe's and custom painted it to make it match the house. It's got a very pretty shade of blue up there. The siding is a couple different things. Most of the house is actually covered in cedar, but the bottom here is beetle kill that's from Sustainable Lumber in Montana. You can see that there's not a whole lot of blue in it. This particular batch didn't have nearly as much blue as I would have liked, but that's my fault for not getting to cherry pick it. But this side also got sun-baked by the Texas sun all year, so it definitely got bleached out. But it's something that I can't fix with some careful staining. In fact, all that brown that you see was something that I added. The black is cedar that's got a Penafin stain on it. Penafin's a great company that I really like their products. I do want to point out though that any oil-based stain definitely has the potential to spontaneously combust. And if you ever followed our blog, you know we actually had that happen. I'll explain more when we get on the inside, but I just want to give a little warning from us to you. Definitely be careful if you're using oil-based stains. The porch here has a lot of cedar shake on it. You can see the door is temporary and it is partially painted because I decided I wanted to paint it one day, hated it, and stopped. The real door that's going to go there is actually a reclaimed one from Tiny Texas Houses that's got a custom stained glass window that I had put in, or we will be putting in, from a gal named Fairy Gleam Glass. That's the name of her Etsy shop. She's awesome. I highly recommend her. I'm very proud of the porch because I pretty much did all the work on it. In fact, that's about the only part of the house that I had anything to do with. The rest of it pretty much branded by himself. So yes, you can definitely build a house by yourself because that's pretty much what my husband did. So anyhow, going around the rest of the side, we've got a lot of reclaimed wood. The window trim there, that's all reclaimed barn wood from Reclaimed Design Works in Dallas. You can also see we've got more birch poles up there. The birch pole from there is from a place called Birch Logs up in New York that I ordered. I do not like, however, that gray trim around the windows, and I'm going to definitely replace that with some black since we have so much other black trim. It would just look better. Our house is set up to run on a 30 amp plug. We've got the ability to run both city and tank fed water. So you can see we've got a heated hose right there and a filter. That little plug right there has got a cord for the heater, but we also use it to run the engine block heater for our truck that we tow with. Up in the dormers, you can see there's still some work to do. That drip edge should be blue instead of white. We just never got around to painting it. There's some more reclaimed wood. That's a pre-finished gray that's around the top and the bottom of the loft windows there. On the end here, we added this nice window bump out that we originally built because we were going to use a water heater that vented up and needed some clearance from the window. We ended up going with a precision temp non-sidewall projection, model that's actually in this portion of the compartment right there. It's insulated and everything, and it vents outward underneath there. There's a propane tank on the other side. For that, that's our only propane appliance. I'm not a big fan of propane, but the reality is it just heats water better than electricity does, so it just made the most sense. But we didn't want any propane piping anywhere inside the building envelope, so that's why you will not see any propane appliances in our house. On the outside here, upper part there is the big loft window. That's the egress size window, and above it you can see a barn light. That was supposed to be this really cool masthead that we were going to have added, but it's on the inside of the house. We didn't want it to get damaged. It's too pretty. You'll see it soon. On this side here, you notice that there's a little more blue in the wood. That's because this side was facing my dad's house when we were building it, so it was a little more protected. Again, same thing. I can add a lot of that blue back to it. That little white thing sticking out there, that's the vent for the Nature's Head toilet. That will eventually be painted a much prettier shade of bronze. You can see our windows are a couple different sizes. That's because we resized a few. We put a few in different places than they were originally framed for. Those are all things that you can do even if you buy a barn raiser, which is really, really nice. Up on the roof there, that is the chimney that will eventually be painted blue as well. That with some high temp heat paint. That is for our Kimberly fireplace that we have, our wood burning stove that's on the inside. Coming around this way, you'll see we have two different colors of windows here. They're both JELD-WIN. The silver one is from the Tradition Plus line. The right one, the blue one, is from the Sightline EX line. A little fancier, a little more expensive window, but this was kind of our feature wall. The front end of the house looks so different from the rest of the house that we just really wanted to show it off. So we've got some blue beadboard up in the hipped roof area, the little gables up there. We've got the fancier window there. All of this down here is reclaimed barnwood of various types. You'll just see that I added some purple, some blue, some violet, and some green, and that's to pull the roof colors that we have into this front feature wall. And that's basically the outside of our house. There's still some projects, like I said, it's all a work in progress, but we're pretty proud of it so far. Now going inside, remember I told you I didn't clean very much. I did that on purpose. I wanted you to see what the house really looks like when we live in it, more or less. The one thing I did do, however, is I turned the lights on, and we don't typically use our lights. We kind of leave them off. I'm taking my shoes off. We leave them off because we've got plenty of natural light, but for the sake of the video, I left it on. So let me back up and go to the front door here. Again, you can see our gloriously temporary door. Up above it, we have an attic space. That was some zip board turned around backwards that I tried to do a dry brush thing on. I don't like it. I'm going to do something different. I haven't made up my mind what yet, but it'll look different when it's done. Same thing with the ceiling. Found this beautiful beetle kill stained plywood. Tried to love it, can't love it. Just doesn't quite work in here the way we wanted it to. We picked it because it went with our kitchen countertops, you'll see in a minute, but I just can't quite live with it. So needless to say, it'll get painted white. It'll have some ebony whale bones added to it. There'll be a big center beam down the middle that you'll see that'll look a lot nicer. But the front entry here, the nook, basically is kind of a study nook. It's also a video gaming nook right now. This TV is not going to be here. We brought it back from Texas, forgetting how big it was. We thought it was a 28. It's a 38 too, so it's a little on the big side. This was a game table my mom had bought us that we never used in our big house, and we thought it was perfect for here because that top flips over. It's got game tables on it. It's got storage in here, all sorts of various things. Basically, this thing will go away, and instead, you'll turn this way, and there'll be a screen here with a little fold-down desk that'll come here so we can put either the laptop or another keyboard on it. We still have moisture issues, so we've got some damp red things hanging around. I used milk paint on the underside of the loft ceiling there. A couple different colors. I think there's a Caribbean blue, there's an aqua, a couple different ones like that. Same thing on this window here. Only downside with it, as much as I love it, we've had so many moisture issues over the winter that it's kind of deteriorated, the paint. I'm thinking what I may have to do is strip it and then repaint it after sealing it with some, I don't know, polyurethane or something first, just to be on the safe side. And obviously we've still got some more trim to do, like this wood that's on this wall here. This was some really expensive flooring that we got for like $5 a box at Habitat Restore. We just used it for wall covering instead. But you can see lots of trim work left to do. Basic stuff. IKEA shades. These were some little $30 light shades we got at Urban Outfitters that kind of move and bend around. And we just chopped the cords off and hardwired them into the house. So needless to say, this is kind of a multi-use little nook right now. I have these great custom cushions made. These are all from Grateful Home. She's based out here in Denver. That was a cedar chest we got for free that's supposedly haunted. Who knows? But we use it for kind of seasonal storage, just extra blankets and various things like that in there. And this is normally under the sofa, but right now it's here taking up space. And obviously we haven't found a good place to put Brand's tools yet, so still a work in progress there. This guy right here, we have lovingly named Bud the Steer, because Rad wanted to name him Butterbeer, and we thought, no. So he was supposed to be our masthead. A very dear friend, Paige, put them together and put all these beautiful beads on there. If you look really closely, you can see there's a purple, there's a green, there's a blue, and there's a violet, and those are the roofing colors. And plus, we just love teals and aquas and anything in that family, so you'll see those colors kind of repeated everywhere. So he holds our wireless headphones that we use whenever the kiddos sleep in. You can see our wall covering here. I'm not great at wallpaper, but this is three-dimensional paintable wallpaper that I got from Graham & Brown. Fortunately, it's kind of fragile, so it nicks a little easily, which is probably not the greatest thing for a tiny house. We were hoping we would use it to kind of cover up the differences in the seams and things in our jet board that we use for our walls. It's not a perfect solution. In hindsight, I probably should have gotten something a little sturdier, but you know what? It's okay for right now. We may change it later on down the road. I haven't decided yet, but and there's plenty of scuffs you can see on the walls there that will actually wipe off if I just bothered to wipe them off. But I did an ombre paint. See, again, you'll see that turquoise and kind of greenish blue created throughout the rest of the house, and I'll show you the reason why later. But I did an ombre, kind of painted it up because it fades to white. The plan is that this will all be painted white, and then the ceiling will be white, and it'll be a lot brighter in here than it is now. So you can see all that extra wood sitting up there. That's to finish projects of various and sundry sorts. We've got more flooring to do down here, to finish the walls, finish the trim around the door. Lots of stuff left to do. So projects. Got this really cool ceiling fan. All of those are Edison bulbs. They're LEDs. It's a tiny fan, but I'll tell you what, it actually puts out way more power than I really would have thought. And the best thing is it's all remote controlled, but it's also got its own switch here. Like each one of these switches runs something different. This one runs the outside porch light. This one runs the fan. So if I flip it, there goes the lights. But the remote actually runs the fan part, and then this is for the nook in here as well. We mounted our iMac to the wall. It took a little trial and error to get the right mounting bracket for it before we could find one that didn't stick out like 3 feet. Hello. Still a work in progress. We're still working on the details. We're going to probably build something around it that will hold it a little bit better and not have so many ugly cords hanging down. But right now we got this little table. It's kind of holding all of the various computer related accoutrements. And then our little trash can that is entirely too small, but we're dealing with it. We do have a little electric heater. Because as awesome as our Kimberly is, which is right over here, it's really been not cold enough to justify using her all the time. I know that sounds insane, because it's Colorado and it was 2 degrees at one point, but it just really hasn't been used as much as we would have liked. I'm showing you the weird part of the ceiling. That's all jet board. We did that because we wanted to have something that was fire resistant right around the box. Everything behind that wallpaper is jet board too. All the walls down here are jet board, except for the one in the front nook there. Because we had a spontaneous combustion event in this house. You'd have to look back in our blog to see the pictures, but there was a bag of trash hanging right there. We were busy. We were in a hurry. We threw a bunch of rags in there that had paraffin on them, and it caught fire overnight, and it just charred this whole area. And it was one of those fluke freak things. It wasn't because we were like, oh, we'll take out the trash later. What could possibly go wrong? It was nothing like that. It was just, we didn't even think about it. We just flat out didn't think about it. We were in a hurry. We had to run off and go do something. So needless to say, be careful. But anyhow, Kimberly has been great. We really do like it. And obviously we're not done. We still got to put another piece of towel back there. We're actually going to put jet board on both sides here. Then it'll all be painted. Then this will all be trimmed out. It'll look a lot prettier when it's all done. There's still lots to do. I mean, the windows have got to be trimmed. There's still more painting to do. There's so many little things that we just didn't have time to do. Like the pipe here is going to be copper. It's going to be so gorgeous when it's done. And I think I may actually, I know this is going to sound nuts to put wallpaper near something flammable, but I may actually put some really pretty birch tree wallpaper up there just to kind of make that look cooler. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet.